There's a pattern that keeps showing up in conversations about metabolic health. Two people can appear to live almost the same lifestyle, similar meals, similar routines, similar effort, yet one feels energetic, stable, and predictable. The other feels like they're constantly negotiating with their own body. That difference has pushed researchers, clinicians, and everyday people to ask a bigger question. What if metabolic health is more complicated than calories, willpower, and simple food rules? For a long time, the public conversation treated metabolism like a calculator. Eat less, move more, track harder, stay disciplined. And while those behaviors absolutely matter, many people started noticing something uncomfortable. Sometimes the outcomes didn't match the effort. Someone cuts sugar, exercises regularly, improves habits, and still feels exhausted. Someone else changes almost nothing and seems unaffected. That gap opened the door to new theories. Not because the old ideas disappeared, but because people realized they might not explain everything. One of the biggest shifts has been moving attention away from single causes and toward systems. Instead of asking, what food caused this? Researchers increasingly ask, what systems interact to produce this result? Energy regulation, hormonal signaling, stress response, sleep quality, inflammation, appetite control, muscle response, recovery. These conversations started changing how people think about metabolic health. Because metabolism isn't a switch, it's coordination. Imagine an orchestra. If one instrument plays badly, the music changes. But if several sections lose synchronization at once, the result becomes difficult to explain by looking at only one player. That's where many newer conversations begin. People started looking at how the body communicates internally, how signals are sent, how hunger changes, why energy changes, why recovery changes, why two people eating the same meal can experience completely different outcomes. At first, the explanation sounded simple. Maybe it's age, maybe it's genetics, maybe motivation, maybe stress. Those explanations helped in some cases, but not always. Then another observation appeared. People often describe metabolic challenges before lab numbers become obvious. They notice less stable energy, more afternoon crashes, harder recovery, more food thoughts, more effort for the same results. And because those experiences are subjective, many ignore them, until they become impossible to ignore. That creates frustration, because the person starts thinking, if I'm doing everything right, why doesn't it feel easier? That question matters. Not because effort doesn't matter, but because effort happens inside a system, and systems can become inefficient. One emerging idea is that metabolic health isn't only about storage. It may also involve flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is the ability to adapt, to respond, to shift between energy demands, to maintain stability without requiring extreme control. When flexibility feels lower, people often describe life becoming narrower. Meals require planning, energy becomes unpredictable, decisions become heavier, and small disruptions feel bigger. That doesn't mean damage. It doesn't mean failure. It means the system may need more context than simple rules. Another theory that continues gaining attention is the relationship between behavior and biology. People often treat these as opposites. Either it's lifestyle, or it's biology, but the reality may be less dramatic. Behavior influences biology. Biology influences behavior. Poor sleep changes appetite. Stress changes decisions. Energy changes movement. Movement changes recovery. Recovery changes energy again. The loop continues. And once people start seeing loops instead of isolated events, the conversation becomes less emotional and more useful. The real issue isn't that people lack discipline. It's that metabolic health may involve more moving parts than most people realize. That idea doesn't remove responsibility. It improves understanding. Because blaming yourself for every result doesn't create clarity. Understanding systems creates clarity, and clarity creates better decisions. That doesn't mean every new theory is correct. New ideas should be questioned, tested, compared, refined, but exploring new theories matters because it expands the questions we ask. And better questions often lead to better outcomes. So if you've ever felt like your experience doesn't fit simple explanations, you're not alone. Metabolic health may be less about finding one perfect answer, and more about learning how multiple systems shape how we feel every day. If you want a structured breakdown with practical examples and a deeper explanation of these concepts, there's a practical guide in the description. And if you enjoy calm, evidence-aware explorations like this, subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.